How are you, Dr. Ilness, Mr. Hermenegildo? This is Brasil Carvalho. Are you drinking your whiskey today? Are you drinking your vodka? Yes, I'm gonna make this like different from the first episode. I'm gonna do this one like it's a dialogue. Just I'm speaking to you. Are you drinking your stuff and evaluating people? Evaluating your son? Tell me more. How many teenagers have you touched when you were like a gynecologist in the end of 90s when it just came up like an article in the local newspaper? Were you one of them who were touching like teenagers? No, because at 76 years old, when your son was fired, you were sending poor message, which I've put many times. It's on my Twitter account, or it's on my Facebook account, or it's on my YouTube. And you can leave it, and you can leave out of a facade. You can leave off out of it. But if it's just you don't deliver it, it's just at some point you just fall. Like everybody falls. Like Eurico Miranda, like Vittorio Pifre, and other people falls. And you will fall. That's like the same thing. If here Google doesn't deliver a good service, or YouTube or Facebook or WhatsApp, and it's not working, it's just a facade. It's just finishes off, and you think you're gonna escape this? No, I don't think so. I don't think you're gonna escape from justice. You think I'm making up things. I say the opposite. I have a journalism degree. I have a half laws faculty degree, studies law, half law faculty studies. So that's for me not a problem. It's validated in Brazil where I took it. It's validated in France. I speak French. I speak Portuguese. I speak English. I'm brushing up my English, so you can see that sometimes I struggle a little bit, but people who are English, they understand perfectly, and it's gonna become better and better. The same as for my French. I've done some videos in French. They were not quite very good, as to my standards, as I guess, but taking in consideration the context, it's okay. It's just gonna be better and better. But tell me more. What are you gonna tell society? Like you love to say, you performed a miscarriage. That I can affirm. You performed a miscarriage, and I'm not gonna of a fetus. I'm not gonna enter the debate if it's just like pros and cons, if you're for or against it. Not gonna. That's another debate. The thing, it was illegal when you did that. It was illegal. Just tell me more about that. Tell me about the miscarriage you performed, and about your hidden life, because you tell things about your son that are not true, that I'm making up, and keep protecting your sick wife that never worked, that I don't know what degree, where she worked, where she took her degree, apparently in history. Which year? Where did she work? Like in a nursery school, something like that. Why? Who she worked with? Who she worked for? Who were her colleagues? What she quit? Was she fired for mistreating children, which is one of her specialities? And they're gonna keep in protecting this lovely marriage where you keeping like sending porn messages. Now we are 79. Have you sent your porn message today, or have you passed your puberty? Are you telling society that you built everything from your work, or would you like to tell them that when you were 40 years old in 1983, you took the money from your grandfather, passing over your mother that were alive, and you made like later on a lawsuit against her mother to interdict her, and in 1983 actually you passed over her, your grandfather who hated you and who had lands. You complained that he gave more lands to your cousins, and he took some lands because you have to rent a cabinet at that time, to work, like an office you have to rent, and then you could buy one, and you could buy a terrain and build your house Tell me about more. That's all coming from work, and tell society that you are holding my stuff. That's theft. I put an email from your daughter. It's just over there. She say, I asked I don't need to ask my things, but I've asked already in polite ways. Tell them that I'm aggressive, and tell about the emails that I published, that I probably your favorite. You said before. I am I'm a lovely person. I'm very nice. I worked. Tell that the praise that you were doing, and then you go crazy because your wife, she controls your mind, and that's not my problem. If you left alcohol just take over you, that's your problem, Dr. Ilness, because then you are performing like Munchausen syndrome by proxy, or you have like other names like as factitious disorder disease by proxy. That's very well spread. I haven't made it up, or fabricated or induced illness, as they call it as you want. I call that your wife is a liar. She's mean. She's sick. She's mean, and you keep protecting her and just protecting, and you think you're not gonna get caught, but you just worked for a tiny organization. It's not even big. I started using Instagram. It's not very long ago. It just was like 3 years ago, and I used basically for 8 months, and I've got more than 1,000 followers there. I was just publishing pictures. And on Twitter account, I made it 2 years ago. It was my Twitter's birthday, but I haven't used for more than 1 year and a half maybe, and I've been using for the last 6 months, I guess, and just like already almost 600 followers. And you just work for a company like there, and you think, oh, you're gonna escape. No, you're not gonna escape. Like Victoria Kiefer, he didn't escape. He's being judged. You think, oh, you can slow down justice, and then you think it's just like you are implicated in my criminal dismissal here. When your daughter got my contacts and passed to you, and I trusted her, and I told her just to leave you alone, actually to spare you, just because I said, look, there's a problem with one guy here. You did the opposite things. You started to threaten me in the name of your wife. That's an illness, and you threaten my life. Now, as you are a doctor and you don't follow any of the ethics, because I am your son, as a journalist, I denounce you. And I'll be denouncing. I barely started my YouTube channel. I don't even advertise it a lot. I should do. Anybody who wants advertisement, it's just you can direct message me in one of my social networks. You can be on Facebook, on Instagram, on Twitter. It's just found by my name. It's just easy to find by my picture. It shouldn't be a double account. Aside from Facebook, that I have 2 accounts, but there is one I don't use, which is just H Müller, which is my sort of my second surname. I don't use that account, but I was about to close the first one when I came to France and restart things, but I think there is no point. I wasn't even using social networks, but I like it. I always liked the internet. You were trying to convince me that in 2018, the end of 2018, when I passed things to your daughter, that was impossible for you to make a contact. Actually, it was supposed to make a content. That's the argument of your both daughters. They are just like bluntly like fail, bluntly lie, because they're rhetoric that it just doesn't stand. It's not solid, because you were supposed to say good things. Okay, my son is good because there was a guy threatening me at work, and you did the opposite. And they say, oh no, I don't have anything to do with that, and just to intimidate me not to do a lawsuit here. And you say, don't do that, and you start to accuse me and you try to denounce me, but none of your attempts just they were achieved. None of them worked. You just tried to denounce me. You wanted actually wanted what you said before you cut contents. When you got contents from here, they start to threaten me here. You said that you wanted me dead or disappeared or talk to your wife. You said that in Brazil. That's nothing new. So you lie to people that I left Brazil. Come back to Cacique, to your very, very tiny little country city in the in the countryside of our state. Just come back to there. Go there and live and work for them. Say that you want everything for them. Go there, work for them. Start to clean like the animals, feces and stuff like that, because you're all your life to them. Just like you say to me, like I owe my life to you. No, you're holding my things. You are holding it, and it's theft. And I've been trying to denounce it. If it doesn't work, you know how to deal with theft. If someone steal you and it's threatening your life, it's like it's threatening my life. You were stealing a lot. You and your wife and your daughters, the Thénardiers, as I called, and you keep defaming me. And defamation is something different. That's defamation when you don't have any proof and you just make things up. So I lose my job. You start to accuse me and try to push me to talk to your wife, and then you insult me. It's just need to open the call from the 6th June 2019 after I lose my job. You were totally drunk, but it's not necessary. I mean, it just showed that you were sent like by mistake, by mistake. Let's say a meta message about porn, supposed porn message that you didn't even send to me, but you said sorry that you thought you had sent. That's enough, because I was fired, and 3 months later, and you want me to talk like in a nice way. Oh, hi, Dad. Okay, I forgive you. I just lost my job. You just trying to oblige me. You're not talking to me. You're just trying to oblige me to talk to your wife, and you just say for me to do nothing. You say that's my fault. I tell you, call the police here, because if they did that, and trying to even think that you have like bon foi, bona fides, like you have good intentions. No. When you took the context, I suffered like 4 threats at work, and like death and aggression. And then you do the opposite. When I lose my job, actually, then when your daughter, you got the context, was blocked. I lose my job, then you call me through your wife's name. I have that. You forced that. From 1998, I stopped to talk to this pedophile, and you called me and tried to push me. And you said that you were going to take my things, you're going to put my under your guard, and you're going to call to the police to threaten me, to denounce me, that my car was vandalized. I just hope that it happens to you, sir. So that's Dr. Ilness spreading your illness. Have you retired already? Because I'm sending this, I'm probably going to send this link to Unimed, Vale dos Sinos, and they closed actually supermarket in Porto Alegre for a guy who actually had 16 accusations on his back. I never had anything. Just the people you are trying to put in against me afterwards, and you keep pushing, and if I let it, just that's the story is gonna pass. But I come to the public debate. You have a right to have an answer. Try to sue me again. I have the proofs. I have the proofs, and your your $2 are interested in that. It's just like 50-50. They take their brother out, and your wife pays them, pay with her money, which comes from an inheritance from your father-in-law, actually. And from my grandfather. That's not from your grandfather. That's from my grandfather. And then you're blocking stuff that belongs to me, that are dear to me. You are blocking financial things, and you have been financing your daughter. One of them has never worked, never graduated. You've been financing her. She has been living off you for 26 years. Yes, that's right. It's 1998. She was 18. No, yes, that's 24 years. I'm sorry about this bad calculation. It's just like she's just 19. No, just let me make it again. 1993, I was 18. She's 3 years younger. 1996. Yes, 26 years. She has been living 26 years out of you. Just you told me like just finish your university. She was telling this and start to work. It doesn't matter if it's a supermarket. That's what I did. I just even that time to finance things. And I went to England. Of course, I wanted to work for BBC here. I want to work to do journalism. I had to just to pay for my food and my house. And your daughter that she was saying that, and the others profiting as well. She never worked, never graduated, and you keep financing. You think you're gonna pass this scam over me? No, you are implicated. My manager would never do what she did. There were some quarrels that what I told, but the message I'm very clear. She was treating me very well. There was a problem with a guy, and then this guy is just like breaking my he's just like causing damage to my social life here, and it's just talk to you said I ruined your daughter's life. This one should never work. She's just very clever. She's a smart ass, like they say in English. She's like they say, like even people that work that's quite posh and or I wouldn't say that posh means polite. Let's say quite polite. She's a cow, She's it's not a fussy cow, I wouldn't say. She's just like, she's nothing. That she told me to use the WhatsApp that I haven't used before. She told me to send like voice messages, and then I ruined her life. And she was supposed to start to work in 2019, and she doesn't start. She was supposed to graduate in 2010, she doesn't graduate, and she was 40 years old. Now she's 43. She never worked, and she's gonna come with kind of some illness that suits her and says no, she's taking over. Like I've published in Portuguese before. Some of these videos they have like subtitles. You can put subtitles either in Portuguese. Some of them they have even in your country's language. So some of them I checked. Though some of videos they have translation, automated translation. I don't know why some of them have, some of them don't. I don't know exactly. I'm not so much. Though I'm studying every day, I'm not into these algorithms yet, but I will arrive there. But I've checked, and there's some you can either even see in three or languages. You have like in English options, and then so there's translation is not a problem. But as I put these videos, they are on Facebook as well. I published already, and your daughter is just like saying you just owe me money, things, and just like she was saying before, 6 months before, when she took the contacts, she was saying for me to quit my job, and then she cuts and all your both daughters and cut contact with me, and then keep quiet, and I keep being threatened here until your daughter says no one has nothing against me, and then I am threatened here. I am tortured. There is a person that I will contact eventually. Maybe I'll send this link to her, and that witnessed that. That's certain. They are trying to make you like just collapse, just like then they are acting with mafia, and said, I know. But I didn't tell the reasons. But problem, she knows the reasons. I just being mashed. It's just interests your daughter. Then I pass the contents. Then you wait. Then when I was suspended, I just panic. Then I just like I don't sleep for 8 days. I don't understand even why, but slowly understand. It's easy to show that. It's easy to show why it's criminal. It's not illegal. It's not a labor law, work law. Enough of these unions. I don't need this. It's criminal what happened. But who is behind it? It's nothing. It's nothing here. I know here. I've been 15 years in Europe. I worked for the same company that actually I have to say it's a good company. Otherwise, it wouldn't work. There was some grievance. They call grievance procedures. There were a couple. It's just the more natural thing in the world. Because you can see like football players. Take from football players that say they love our football or club, and they have some procedures sometimes, and they renew contracts or otherwise. That's just part of life. Just like, but you be tortured and things like that, and you were happy and just think, oh no. And what you were saying, like in this mail from 2017, they were trying to oblige me, and you think, oh, now justice is gonna take more than 1 year or 1.5 year, and that's because that doesn't depend on me to find a job, and you keep defaming me, and that I have very very like scarce means. I'm using all my intellectual part or stuff, and I keep doing things like the right way. And you are just betting on that. Oh, in 1 year, 1.5 years, he's just like, he's gonna lose his rent. He's just gonna be sick like you wanted all your life and say, look, I am the boss, I'm right, or I will be dead, or I will disappear, or you're gonna be under like so weak that you are gonna start to dope me. That should be denounced, like it happened like in United States. They say, look, there's a justice system fail, like there's authority fails. This woman should be in jail, because she wasn't, there was a crime. There's another one that she was, and you should be in jail now. What you did is a crime. You are trying to hide it. I understand, because you are gonna lose your diploma, all your facade. You're trying to hide it, but it's not gonna work for very long. One, because I keep active, like I said, I keep like studying every day. I just don't. I don't buy your arguments. Is you tell people lies. You say to friends that left the city there, some people before me. You say that I abandoned them. Actually, you signed the contract for me to move from a place in the city town, and I was trying to do everything like. It's not that the country is poor, because I could be living in Africa, but I was having 2 jobs. I have to actually stop my law university, otherwise I would have 2 degrees. I would be very qualified, and your daughter putting pressure, and the other one having loads of gifts. No, that's not just that some differences. I understand difference. That's not difference. That's persecution what you are doing, and that's from a sick, and you need to be punished. You are sick. If you are doing things like that, you need to be punished. It's you who make up things. Your wife who used to lock me up. If she's gonna confess it, no, she's not gonna confess it. Otherwise, she's gonna go to jail. She's very clever. She's she's very she's mean. She's totally sick you, and she's doing it on purpose. Like they said, like there was judgment in Australia, and the judge said, "Look, you were consciously about what you were doing, and the historical things what I put show that I'm a clever guy. I was a happy kid. I was working. Your daughter never worked and never graduated, and then it's just like, of course, some people can have a degree like you and can be nothing. They just can pass cheating, or they can buy a degree or something like that. It doesn't mean a lot. You have to use it. But then she's judging, and is she losing or she's benefiting from it? And your other daughter as well, and your wife illnesses. Like all articles that I read in Spanish, in Italian, in English, in Portuguese, many of them talk that a person like your wife tries to take down, and you lost all your respect for me and a father's love. Then I don't. For me, it's very tough, because nightmares I have every day. I try to contact you, don't answer. I tried in all ways possible. I try to say, look, I need you. Try to think alone. Try to get out of the city. Try to think by yourself, because you complain many things about your grandfather. You said about injustice. You said you wouldn't do that, but you lost completely to alcohol. It actually tore your daughters, both of them, and your wife, who were calling you behind your back alcoholic. And I just said, never touch me and never let your alcohol disease affect me. And actually in Brazil, you let already. You're not going to remember, because you're totally drunk. You beated me. You gave me like 2 punches in my face when I was 25. You did other things. You don't remember when your wife lied that you were going to suicide because of myself. I didn't even understand why. It was apparently because a light that was left um, on the garden. It's just like something ridiculous. It was not even, couldn't be that, because you know how you are and how I was educated like to be. And if it was something that I left, I forgot. It's just nothing. I was doing, like, I was working like 2 works. I was doing university, and your wife is just going crazy and making up these things. And then in the end of that, we had a fight, because I said, look, what, you are completely drunk. Why are you gonna kill him? Why? And you were angry with me. You didn't even let me to speak. And I just said before I left, because I was leaving the house that day, then I just said, look, I tried to save your life. She said, and you looked at her and you said to her, I never said that. You said to her, was one of the last times, because you said to her that she was lying. She was just making up. She didn't stop to putting her nose in people's life, because she doesn't have a life. She doesn't have a work. She's just like, there are many films about that. Like there's Hair in the Mouth, there is Thrown Mama from the Train. There are many things. And then she's just like, and then there wasn't time. But the next day I was supposed to go actually to another state, and there was no buses. It was late in the night. I finished in my aunt's house apartment, and your wife managed to put against me, your aunt and her husband, because I fixed the computer. That needs to be said. And then I finished up there, and they said, okay, she talked to your wife, and all these, let's say the word in English, this bitching, these gossips. And then, okay, your father forgot you because actually you were touched. You came even, I think there were tears in your eyes, because I see, look, that I just came here to save you, I don't want. And you said you didn't even have your gun at that time. She made your gun disappear, but she's gonna make it appear very quick. If it's to put you against me, she did that many times. If it's like to cause hatred that she's causing, you're not noticing, you're not seeing the cancer. It's just on your side. You're not seeing it. It's just she's the cancer. And then it's gonna appear and said, look, I don't even have my gun. She's lying. And then you looked at her, and now she lost face. But of course, your daughters are gonna protect her. The money she took your money about. It's a shared bank account you have. She took your money already. You don't like bank accounts. She's managing it. Your daughters live off her, and they are trying. That's the only thing. I was when your daughter took the things, and she waited, like she spoke to me since August, like 2019, when it was the end of November. Then she spoke to some teachers from her. They never spoke to me, and then she did like a convenient diagnosis that for her, and she spoke to people here that is just like how do you say that in router stuff, like I'm forgetting the word. This is just like this, there was a crossfire effect, there was a rebound effect. And then she's just spoke to people here she's supposed to, and she made her diagnosis, she that's not graduated, that suits her. And I start to hear that here, that when here all the time, and be threatened when, like, writing is one of my best qualities, as well as speaking. There's people saying that you speak very well French or English, you're quite a good speaker, and you transformed that in a disease that's always saved me, which is people make contracts because of that. So you are actually want to finish with lawyer jobs, with like judges laws, with police law, with everybody's jobs, because you're gonna say with writers law jobs. One of the most things that you found on the internet, there were writers writing about stuff. And there are some people writing about fiction, but there are journalists as well. I'm doing journalism. I can even use metaphors, but I'll be clear when I use them. I can do fictional stuff, but this, I'm talking about that. And when I used this, I wrote since April 2017 to this manager. She broke. I was working 6 months with her, and 1 year in 6.5 in this company. And the manager had a changeover from the shop at the ground floor, and I just was working for the ground floor because before I worked 1 year for both floors, just for the same, going up and down. And then they decided to split, because for the manager upstairs it was too much. Is the it makes three more there are three more customers than downstairs, and they took a manager that's from the same company but from another shop that's very quiet, and they put over there. And for 6 months it was okay. She put a couple of her son and her daughters, her children there. He was 18 at the time, she was 20, 22, 23, something like that. She's more or less 4 or 5 years older than him. And okay, it's not the best thing, but it happens. It just in some respect. When he broke her word, and I think probably because of this guy, I cannot judge. I just say, oh look, I have to post things. Today is sunny. It's very difficult. It's gonna rain because it's sunny. It's just like I can see. I didn't even check the forecast, but it's just not very. It's not humid. It's dry. The sky is very nice. It's totally clear. And now it is 9. 22 past 9 in the morning here in Montpellier, 23 past 9. And well, but I can just try to, to foresee it's gonna, if it's gonna rain, I take an umbrella or something like that. And the same thing, just like the same thing. I was like, I cannot, I can infer things. I cannot affirm that it was she did, because she shouldn't have like a reason. Of course there was politics. I was on holidays. It's horrible when it happens. It happened once in England, and when she took over, I wasn't told that there was a management changing. But when I came back, okay, I know I trust my work. I just worked hard. But there are some politics going on. But probably this guy did the job, like just like we became friends with her son, and it's just like there was a massive accusation in front of me, like horror, in front of a colleague of mine that I like a lot, and I was humiliated, and I answered quite hard, and I said, look, I'm gonna send an email just about it. And since then, every time that something happened, I sent an email with just check the cameras, and it always worked for myself. It always worked, because even if I'm not a brilliant writer, or sometimes I could even lose a night, just like because of just I was stressed because of a fake accusation or something like that, it would work. She started to make things clear, and she notes, no, that's okay. I understand that. I read. I've done that in England since my first job. It was my job to write. I don't even like to say that in Brazil it was my job. In university, they were quite polite. It was my job to write. Even if I wrote like 1 or 2 pages, my boss would come and say like just Ayrton, or like they say in England, or Ayrton is my name, as you can pronounce whatever, I don't mind. Whatever you want, which way you want. Then they would say, okay, now you did like you just did like you summarized the book like 2 pages. I need 10 pages. So I say, but it's okay, it's concise, 2 pages. No, I need 10, just to try to think about other angles and other things. That was my job, and my job at the magazine as well, to write write as a reporter. There I had some limits sometimes, depend the pages, depend on the articles, depend on the demand. There's some limits to write. Like there's I did like I used to do like any space that is just very very tiny articles about community stuff. And then you have some liberty when you have some freedom, when you have like to do interviews. You could do like 2 or 3 pages, or depends, or about a special report or something like that. And that was my job. Then I need to write, I don't know, let's say 3,000 characters, 5,000 characters. And the same thing, like I was always, I know, wrote, and when I wrote, it was, it was very well considered. And you turned that in a disease, just so much that I was start to be accused, and they start to push me and to overcharge me, like bluntly lie, and they accuse me of your daughter. You accused, it's very sweet at her, and your cut contacts, and it was being destroyed in the Christmas. Like it was horrible. Christmas 2018 was horrible. I could just cry and be mad with you. And then you said all these things before, I am a lovely son, and on 2018, and then you hate me, you want me dead, and I'm ashamed for 43 years. You took me to your football club. I still have some of the pictures. I think we stopped sending the pictures because you just sent me like 3 or 5%, because it's making proof against yourself. And your wife stopped me talk forced to me, because since 1998 I had to speak to 23 or 22 years. I had to stop speaking to her, because you cannot tolerate someone that is checking your your homework from your university, your mother just like, it's just horrible. Just a person who is lying, who doesn't have a life, and who is trying to just, when I noticed, I just became aware of this title of this syndrome in 2007 when I watched a documentary in England. It was a TV series. There's on YouTube, actually, this one. And actually there's a TV a show or a report they did. But I noticed this before. I just didn't know the name. Just look, every time since I was a kid, she's putting me in doctors, and I get like very good grades. She's trying to find things that doesn't exist, and she gets very happy when something bad's happen. And when to me, when I'm happy, she gets very sad. She's sick. She's sick in her mind, and just like your daughter is just feed from it. Your daughter lied when she was 17, 18. It's just like there was something about betrayal between you and the wife. You solve it yourself. If you're gonna passing porn messages, if your wife profit from it, if you just like it's your business. You're both doing porn movies when you are like both like after you're almost 80s year old. Just your own stuff. Just have your ethics, some ethics of your son. Because that's affect my personal life. I still want to get married and all this stuff. I want my work back, and you didn't show any compassion or nothing. You were happy. So that those things you need to think about, and not you need to think about. People are gonna show you how it is. How I was humiliated. You need to be humiliated before the same society you say you work for, and you were passing like you're calling me things. You're saying that I don't think well, that I am senile, that I have problems. You're passing, and you call yourself senile, and you're passing like porn messages 3 months after I was fired. No, wait a second. You're just taking the piss out of me. Just mocking at me. Just That's just ridiculous. And you need to, I don't even talk about your corporation, because they have some dignity. They just gonna demote you. They're just gonna no put you aside. Just gonna do your retirement early. You could be retired already. You said this from emails, like financially. You told me this. I have the emails from 2012, 2013. You said that you have like an easy life, that you could be retired. You start to say to me that you work, when I was fired, that you working all the time, that you are very busy, that you are a very serious man, and you are sending porn messages. That's it, Dr. Illness. You're trying to find an illness and in your son to give a present to your wife just because it warms you up, it horns you up. I don't know the term how to use it, but that's what happens. Just solve the problem with her, and just my stuff is my stuff. And it went too far, because I was hard working, and I want my job back. It's just because, and I want some dignity, I want respect. I'll find what happened. Actually, I know what happened. I'll find witness, I'll prove it. And oh no, now he finds a job, and it's just in 1 year, 2 years. Just it's not gonna happen. It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen even if I'm dead. If it's not gonna happen, it's gonna happen by my hands, like it happened in the United States when the authorities later on they recognized they didn't act in time. The justice gonna happen. Don't worry about that, because I had to hear that it's okay if the guy vandalized my car, and if he breaks my car. I have to hear this. You incite violence against me. That's what you do in the name of your wife. So that's a very quite weird way. And then that's if someone needs to be treatment. Oh, doctors are not God, journalists are not God. We need to be put in check all in time. It doesn't matter the profession. So you are doing it's not a mistake anymore when you are doing things like that, and you are lying, and you have all the interest to lie. And just for me not to do a lawsuit against the manager here, it's because the first thing is to relieve for her. She's gonna denounce you. She's gonna say, look, and she's gonna try to join forces if you look. I've done that because she can have like a tough time, but I should have my job back. It's very harsh to find a job. I shouldn't be to be worried about that. I can do it. I'm doing stuff. I'm trying to do, but it doesn't mean that things are gonna work out. At 43, your daughter is not gonna work like doing Olympics, like gymnastics for Olympics, or gonna play soccer or something like that, or play basketball. No, she's just gonna keep being lazy and keep lying and tell these things that I had to hear until she was fired. And then your wife profited and try to push, and you try to push her through, just like they say in articles, just try to make me vulnerable, to put like at her feet, just to humiliate me and finish my life. And I've been like 15 years in Europe, 10 years in France, and doing everything right. I need actually to ask my part of from things from the government that has been like about 6 months. I haven't asked. I leaving out of my money. That's gonna finish at one time, but I'm aware of this. But the first thing, I should have my job back, at least a recognition. But because I'm not gonna allow that on my CV. I just worked very hard and I was never fired in my life. And that's not about being fired, because they need to give actually like before an advertisement, they give to give it like a letter, they give it to call for a reunion, then they give it to give a first advertisement. The same system in England, they need to give a second advertisement. And it's not about being fired, it's being tortured. That I've been people complaining about working, just complaining for complaining, because they complain. Even one guy in your state about football, he's very famous. He was complaining, he was just complaining with his own work, but he likes, because your sister never worked, you always complain about your work, about the hospital in your city, about everything, about your colleagues. It's just what people do. And this guy just like, it was 5 and a half hours sitting down, and said he didn't have time to go to the toilet. He complained because people complained that he was supposed to do a draw, choose for something, draw so like just to give it how to say, a jacket from his football club to people who were watching his live. And he forgot about that and say, look, I was working like 5 hours and a half in this, just doing this stuff. I was tired. I forgot I was gonna do this. And I was put to work, like I always worked like standing up. Like I don't mind if the manager comes to me and said, look, can you work like for 12 hours? I don't have stuff, and say, okay, I can work. I really just need water, a glass of water. It's okay, a glass of water is fine. You need to eat like just whatever, uh, half of sandwich, quick, just to get some energy. I say, oh fine. So you say, oh fine, that's fine. But if you agree with a person and you don't have pause and you're not prepared, because actually you're gonna have your break, your pause, as they say in French, and then you have to work standing up without toilet. There is no toilet, but even if there were, and just like that, and you support everything. You don't say, no, Artem, I'm gonna take this mail from your manager, I'm upset about that. No, he said, oh, I have nothing to do. And I would, you just, oh, no one speaks to no one. You should be speaking. You should come and should give like a discourse on my name. No, just that's because you are defaming me. You try to get my stuff. Not only that, you are holding my stuff. You try to get my stuff from here, from France, that I'm trying. So that's touches a bit of private international law, that touches human rights, and you are profiting from it. You are a criminal. I'm just denouncing you, and you just like Dr. Illness, because you find illness that there's no illness. When I told her I have something in my heart that was pericarditis and pneumothorax, then you took me like 2, 3, 4, 5 doctors. They didn't find it. They just found it, and they just, oh, you're making up. I'm not making up. I having something like a clock, which they call in English like a knock, knock, pericardial knock, something like that. And then they found it. They do like an echo. I forgot they call the abbreviation in English. But well, they did that in this institute. It was about 1990 or 1994, the first one they've done, and they found it. Yes, he has something, and I just took some aspirins, like paracetamol, for this stuff, because it's just like an inflammation, until I have to perform a surgery in 1996, when it was a bit more serious. But when I tell you, you don't believe. Then you come and you made me took medicines from a guy who was totally on drugs, a psychiatrist who was totally on drugs. You could see that he spoke to me for 5 minutes. You made me because of your wife. There was a guy before who told your wife is sick. 1996. There's a guy who told in 2000 was 25, and you said that I had to get like better grades. Your daughter never graduated in her life. She was, I think, evicted from the first school, Sinodal. She went to a second school. She was caught like in using drugs, like on the classroom. You forgot about that. You forgot about this stuff, and then you made me like to on pressure to take 5 medicines, and I start to fail all grades, which never happened before. Like for 2 or 3 years, you ruined 3 years of my life with that crap. And I can say, because that doctors say that you cannot take, that's dangerous. And just because you can do like a styling thing like with me, just like you said, like, oh, the styling is horrible, like just like you can do like your stylish way with me. You're just gonna, oh, I'm gonna just like hurt him. He thinks different. He just like doesn't like the same player that I like on my football club. He's not voting on the same party I'm voting for, the same candidate. uh, he doesn't like the same music I like. Oh, but that's okay, that's fine. Ah, but my wife, oh, my poor wife, she's crying, she's not happy because she wants a slave. She said that all women are bitches. She did just what she says, and she's just lying all the time. It's just a lie after lie. It's easy to show by emails, and just like the article says in English, or they say, she's trying to do, she pushes everyone, and then I have to support this for myself. I was alone, and then she takes advantage of that now it's like I'm older for the market, though I think people are gonna say, look, this guy's know what he's talking about, and I know my qualities. I can do translations, I can do whatever. I hope people, I get like people interested on me, but on my personal life story, because I need to be very clear with them. As I was with my manager, as I was with my colleagues. I told this colleague, he asked, did you ever go back to Brazil? I said, no, never. I got Portuguese passport, and I know people in England that never went back to their countries. They were there like for 20 years. They just adapt. They just, it's not even migrants anymore. They just they are in the culture. No, I don't need it. I will go for holidays maybe, but I was quite afraid that they would try to keep me there or try to make something. But I was living in harsh conditions. Why your daughters both live in luxury, you live in luxury. So that's, for me, it's very harsh. And then you profiting that from my age, and your sister, that's your daughter, that's not capable to find a job. It's just, oh no, just find a job there, just quit your job and find. Then I lose my job, and she, oh, now she comes, and instead of she sending me an email, she says, I'm sad about it, she's happy. She's just saying like, you owe me money. She just sent to cut it. Even if she's paid all her life, living out of you, out of how do you say, just like, just like she doesn't do nothing, she's paid for you. You just, I don't know, you hide your taxes, you do that stuff, and then she's gonna come, she's gonna find me a job for me here. And of course you don't want me to do a lawsuit against the manager. You're gonna try to hide and put under the carpet as long as you can, but you're gonna get caught. And people wanna get, because there is compassion in the world, they're gonna get compassion. They're gonna say, look, this guy is clever, and you're gonna go to the bin, cause what you did is a crime, and that's gonna turn up. Why justice sometimes takes some time, but when things get like public, they work faster. And I know what I'm talking. I'm being consistent. I'm not. I will repeating. Yes, things work a lot about looping. Your mobile phone works with looping, and you need to repeat things like many journalists do, many doctors do. And I will repeat. I'm consistent. I'm being consistent. That's what your daughter. That's why you don't speak, because you say one thing. You are saying coherent things. You say like one time you say one thing, one time you said another thing. The same thing your wife you're doing. She waited for me to be fired. She said she knew the story, so why she didn't contact me like 6 months before? She waited me to be fired, to be in a vulnerable situation because I was telling your daughter, look, I'm not gonna quit my job because if I quit my job, I'm in a very tough situation. I will be like in a very tough, it's gonna be horrible. And then she took advantage. Then she stopped, but it just lie after lies. She just lied because both she and her daughters, your daughters are lying. They are getting coherent with my twin sister. She lies, and your wife lies, and they both get incoherent with both. And then your daughter, your oldest daughter, my twin sister, she doesn't say anything when she lies, and your younger daughter that never work, it's even more, it's worse. It's a crime. I don't need, I shouldn't be like a sleepless night like I have every night, which is completely understandable. I have to pay rent, I have to pay food. Your sister don't need to worry, and you keep defaming me. You don't stop, and I'm not gonna stop. I'm gonna do, actually I stopped for some time. I'm gonna do like more and more. I'll get more fluent in English. I'll send to more people. I'm not sending it a lot. Actually, I'm sending to 2, 3, 4 people. But as long as I get confident, and there I've been channels that have like thousands of videos. As long as my English get very confident, and in French, I was watching a video, it's very cool video, how like records were done, like vinyl records and stuff, and the stereos and mono. And the guy said that he had an original video that no one watched. If it's happening to the same things, if I'm not getting things right because I don't have experience as long time, and I was serving like 250. The dismissal letter is ridiculous. I was under torture, and you validate it. You should actually do like a note. You should put like call like friends that you have contact, like your friends, my friends. Actually, I don't know who is your friend. You just don't have like any parents in your any family members that, as far as you know, and you tell my friends that I don't have, and actually that were my friends that I haven't seen for a long time. You actually defame me and make them stop and talk to me. You profit that, you just take advantage that I was fired, and just make up stories and just make things more difficult for me. It just what you were doing is disgusting. If there was death sentence in Brazil, you should go to that. Just, you are the criminal. You are sick in your head. You cannot see, and you think you are going to escape with that. No, you're not going to escape. I've seen big companies like having like people fired, or even sometimes they close or lose like everything, like lose customers, lose like their business because of scandals like that. And what you are doing is scandalous. It's just ridiculous. And I'm speaking in my name, but probably in the name of many people who doesn't know how to speak, either in their language or doesn't know. And I'm doing my stuff here. It's podcast for the moment, but probably some people are gonna get interested. They can change the speed either to, they know it, either in the settings for 1.5 or whatever, or 2. You can double the speed if they want. And until I get it, very slowly. uh, as long, for me it's like 3-4 people watch, and like 10 people, and then 15 people. I'm gonna keep it doing this, and saying what's happened. And people look that's a fictional series. If they're gonna do a fictional series afterwards, I don't know. I'm just telling a real story, because there is loads of real stories there that you don't believe that's horrible. But there is in Brazil, there is all around. There is in the States, there is in Russia, there is in here in France. And just I'm telling this, and you just used the things. And I'm gonna keep denouncing you until you're gonna get caught. You are stealing me. You made theft already, and you think you can escape from that. You're not gonna escape. So I want your daughter, that she doesn't know probably how to write and how to speak even in Portuguese. And it's just, she is the broken record. She's gonna say the things that suits her. She's a criminal. You're both of your daughters. Your family needs to get caught, and you're gonna get caught, because you messed up with the wrong guy. I didn't do all this. After I was fired, actually, I did 2 massive online open courses, 10 of them. I did the 10 of them like in some months, because they were about 4-6 weeks. They're not gonna give me jobs, though I'm just gonna to pass time, but it's just not the thing, I want respect, my respect back. I fight it, fight for it, because if you have no honor, if you pass porn messages and if you lie to people, no. And that's when I passed the contents of my manager to your daughter, that's why I said my manager is protecting me. I'm not having this guy is just what she couldn't do for me. It's just like she couldn't stop like the damage of my social life. That's what I was trying to stop, and she did the opposite. And then the threats after, outside the work, she said she was worried about that. She had all the reasons to be worried. She didn't want like anything like, because my car was broken, bloodshed, everything like that. I knew that like from 1 year before, like she wouldn't like, she hated fights at work, and this happens, even when people like fights, mean like people uh, just swearing at each other. She doesn't like it, even if she has her times, her difficult times, but normally she doesn't like it. It's just not professional. I was being protected, that's why I passed the things. And then your daughter do the opposite, like it just pleases your wife, it pleases you, and then it just put me like in a difficult situation, because she says, okay, this guy, he's 42 and now his father is speaking like a great doctor, like you like to show off yourself, you like just to I like how it's escaping me the word. It's like you like to brag on about yourself, like, oh, I'm a big doctor, like, oh, he's you. And it's just the same what I suffered. Like, you need to pay damage for me, like what I suffered all my child and my teenage stuff, and you protect me for some time and you have some respect. Then your wife took over and the alcohol took over you, and that's not my problem. Because if it's the same of our football club, which unfortunately for me is the same of yours. I don't know if I choose because of you. It's weird, because I was ashamed. But they are in the second division. Why? Because they are either incompetent, either there is corruption, or both, or other stuff. But it's just like a massive football club in Brazil, that. And just because of people like you just ruin people's life. You just ruin like you just ruin like an institution, and that's what you're doing. And you leave your wife just like there and just keep lying. You lie to my friends, and instead of helping, you cut contacts. All the people that I passed contacts and try, no, there is no negotiation, you go there and you defame me, and you're just trying to do this, like this, this is modern, this economically, just to make sure that I cannot even find a job, that I cannot react. That's what we're trying to do. You're a criminal, Dr. Yunus, and we are gonna keep this series. Don't worry about that.